what are they going to do? I mean, we're sitting here during the break, and they're showing highlights of Josh Jacobs just running the ball down the Seahawks' throat. He ran for over 200 yards in that game. It was dreadful. Their run defense was absolutely dreadful. And
it was broken.
Yeah, and they took steps to improve it. They bring in Draymond Jones. They re-signed Jaron Reed, the draft picks. So hopefully the moves they've made, plus the maturation of some of these other guys we've talked about, it all leads to a much better product on the field in terms of the defense. But, we also talked about the scheme last year, that they went to the, they called it the 3-4 with 4-3 concepts or whatever the heck they were saying about it. But Al Woods is a guy who was a part of this. And, we saw a lot of guys with the palms up in the air looking at other players like, what are you doing? What are you doing? There seemed to be some confusion. We saw Quandre do it. We saw Al do it. And then Al is now playing for the Jets, and he was talking about the defense and, asked why he wanted to play in New York.
Just wanted to do something different. Been in the 3 for a long time, so I was just tired of, catching and reading. I would stand on the sideline and watch other teams play, and I'm like, damn, I want to play like that. That's fun, so that's why.
Now explain for the football layman out there when he talks about just catching and reading.
Oh, man. Well, it's what I was complaining about all last year. I think Quandre Diggs was complaining about it. Yeah, I mean, you look at that Josh Jacobs run that they just showed, and they do tend to show that a lot.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I remember, I think I did a football 101 on that play. It might have been one of the other plays where they got 15 or 16 or 20 yards or something. But what you had was you had 2 double teams. There's 2 defensive tackles, and there's 2 linebackers, and the linebackers are sitting back there at 4 yards. The play has snapped, and they're waiting to read which side that guy's going to take, apparently. You have to hit that double team now. You have to,
as a linebacker.
As a linebacker, those pictures where I had, they're 4 yards back, they need to be at about 2 yards, coming downhill and attacking it. Because, I'm sure you know this, when you're pushing, if you're a 320-pound guy and you're pushing on another guy and I hit you, you weigh about 150 pounds, because all your force is going that way. And you can knock guys on their butts. Done it before, and it's a nice little trick.
But in terms of his role, catching and reading, what is he doing?
He's talking about 2 gap, which means basically that I'm going to play side or backside, whichever one they've decided that they're going to do, and then the linebacker's going to play off of him. So, yeah, he's sitting there reading instead of just knowing where his gap is. So it was like at every level, those guys, and this is, look, I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than this. I think Pete. I think he told the morning show that I think it might have been off the air or something, but I heard this quote where he said, if you came into one of our defensive meetings, your head would spin. There's so many things. It's so much more complicated than just that, but that's the basic part of it, and that's what Quandre Diggs was complaining about last year. Moyer used to always be like that to the linebackers when I was playing with Paul. He's like, pick a side early. Don't make me wait for you to read and do something. If you're going to go inside, I'll go outside. So it's like every level is waiting to see what the guy in front of him is doing, basically. That's how I would put it very simplistically. So
when you get the hesitation at the very beginning, it's like a traffic buildup on the freeway. Cars are piling up behind you.
Exactly. So, and that happened, I think it was most obvious probably in that Tampa Bay game. There was lots of times where there were more gaps when you bring a guy in motion and he's on the line of scrimmage, he creates another gap, just by his body being in there. So, that was some of the problem. So I don't.
Is that Clint Hurt then? Is it the teaching, the rules of the defense?
Yeah, I think it's all. Look, they just decided this is how we're going to play it. So it was pretty much everybody, So, I don't know. And look, I don't think. Pete's not insane, right? Pete knows defense, and I think he thought it was going to work, and it just didn't seem to work for these guys. But, I don't know if they're going to, be doing, like I said, I make it sound very simplistic. There's lots of things, but that's kind of what we've heard from now Al Woods, and then we've heard it even during the season from Quandre. Listen to Quandre. Quandre will typically tell you what's going on.
Well, here he is. He's on the Richard Sherman podcast, and he's talking about this defense needs guys who fit this actual scheme.
If you're going to stick to that scheme, you got to have guys that know that scheme in and out, and it can't be, I'm guessing here, and you guess, and you wrong. If you guess, you better be right. Because my coach would tell me in college, I used to go get a lot of picks in college my first 2 years, and I would be doing some stuff I ain't supposed to do. He was like, I love the ball hawk skills, but I tell you what, if they throw this ball and your man catch it and you somewhere else you ain't supposed to be, you going to be sitting right beside me.
Sounds like what Chuck Knox said to you. And
Damn right.
Yeah, you're gonna live with it while it's working, but you always have that cautionary thought in your mind, like, you're not doing it the right way. You're getting away with it, but you're not doing it right, and it may come back to bite you. And it sounds like it certainly did with guys guessing. And you'd only guess if you didn't really know.
Exactly. You would only guess if you weren't sure what you were supposed to do. So I think, there was a lot of things that happened after the snap of the ball. In my opinion, too many things. I just feel like you should know what your gap is. I mean, look, if they go in motion, you got to reset it. If they shift, okay, that's one thing. Then it changes a little bit. But when the ball snaps, you should know. In my opinion, anyway. So, and that's what I saw. And I think Al Woods, really, he was good at that. Like, if you remember, there's a play in the New Orleans game where he stood up, took a guy on, threw him down. Mm-hmm. Another guy comes, stands him up, throws him down, and then makes a tackle. He was doing a lot.
Well, I recall us talking about him during the season going, he's one of the few guys we feel like's played well consistently.
Yeah.
Other guys had good games, moments, but just in terms of a consistent presence, and he's not putting up the sexy sack numbers, but watching his strength and running back coming through the hole, and he's like clothesline out of longest yard. I broke his freaking neck. He's that guy. He's that strong. He just seemed to be the guy who was in the right spot most of the time.
Yeah, you were never complaining about him.
Yeah.
I thought the other guy that handled it really well was Jordan Brooks. Now, that's next to our boy Cody.
Yeah.
Cody did not fit him. I'm sure he bolted for the Washington football team. So, I don't know. I hope they get it fixed. And we'll see.